We have a world that's constantly changing, and in every single segment of our life. So if you are a leader, how do you lead your team in the face of change with all that ambiguity, uncertainty, risk? What do you do?
Right. That's a good question. So one of the attributes of leaders, I mean, the young people, you guys are not going to start off, to be honest with you, few of you are going to start off as leaders. You don't have the experience, right? And you're going to be serving. You're going to be a part of the team. And as I said, be the very best team player you can possibly be. But as you develop, eventually you will become leaders, many of you. And leaders, another attribute of a leader beyond what we've already said, and that's the ability to look forward, look into the future, look over the horizon where others cannot see what is coming. An effective leader is always attempting to look over the horizon to see what is coming next. And the way you practically do that is you look at what are the other innovators in your particular field, whatever that may be. Again, finance, manufacturing, car sales, it doesn't matter what it is, right? Who are the very best in the world that are in the same field, that are already doing what you're doing? And look for those who are leading the way. Look for those key innovators and those key companies and organizations that are already at the top of the game. Because what you want to do is you don't want to start all over again, right? You want to start, if you can, where they're at, right? Learn all you can learn from them, and then you will be that much ahead of absolutely everybody else. So that the term for that is in the 90s and 2000s was called benchmarking, right? You benchmark against the very best person, right? If I run a McDonald's, right, and the Burger King is outselling me and outdoing everything better than me, right, I'm going to go and study Burger King very carefully so that I can learn from them and benchmark against them, so that I don't spend days, weeks, years learning the basic things that I can learn very quickly if I benchmark. So, right, so what I did as a young officer, and I learned this principle, I began taking my teams, and I took them to a manufacturing F-16 fighter jet manufacturing plant in Dallas, Texas. I took them to, at that time, the most effective, amazing smartphones were by Motorola. I took my team to Motorola and asked for a tour, and I met with their leaders and sat down, and our team asked questions. How did you build an innovative team? Right? I took them actually to a coffee shop, which was a coffee factory that produced coffee, right? And so these were I was benchmarking against industries that were actually not necessarily even within my specific sphere, but these were innovative teams, and we benchmarked and we learned from them. We learned why did they think differently? What did they learn? What can we apply? What can we learn from them? Right? And that's what an effective leader, if you want to be at the top of the game for the rest of your career, that's what you have to do. Look over the horizon and always be looking for who you can benchmark against, right? Who can you learn? And what I do then is I would send my teammates, my team players to these different places sometimes. I didn't go or my team go if it was specialized in the area of HR or in the area of computer programming or in the area of manufacturing or parts or supply chains, right? I would send my people to these places and benchmark and have them benchmark and learn, and then come back to our team with a fresh, new perspective on what we can do.
So, I mean, when you're doing innovation, when you're facing change, there's obviously a lot of stress, a lot of fear of the unknown. As a leader, how do you approach that? So how can you be, make your teammates feel secure and not, to overthink about stuff that they can't control, but more focus on stuff that they can do moving forward?
Right. And again, I think that's another aspect of good leadership. A good leader can gander not only respect for the leader, but what we would call in the French esprit de corps, right? A spirit of teamwork, a spirit of a team. So think about a good coach, a quality coach, a great coach, what he does in his team. He gets the team, first of all, to believe in him. And then secondly, he gets the team to believe in themselves. Because a team that doesn't believe that can win will never win. A team that believes they can win will win eventually, right? And so esprit de corps and teamwork and that kind of a belief in oneself and believing in the team and believing in the team leader is critical. And that's a skill set that is, again, you're not born with that. You learn that. You learn how to do that well. And I would add to that another part of what you're asking would be to look for small wins. Don't look for huge wins, and it's the small wins, right, that build momentum. And so the way you build momentum is you get the team to win a few, right? And they don't have to be big wins, but little wins, consistent over time, produce big wins, right? In a baseball metaphor, you might not know baseball, but I don't want my team to be focused on striking home runs every time they come to the bat. I want consistent base hits, right? And it's a consistent base hits over time that makes the winning team, not someone that can occasionally hit a home run. That's not going to win the game, right? So you'll have those home run moments where something explosive happens, but generally speaking, your career is going to look like a lot of consistent little wins over time. And the terminology for that in the 90s and 2000s, again, was continuous process improvement. Okay. So you can find lots of books and articles that's related. That's the topic. That's the subject that you are looking for. Continuous process improvement. What does that mean? What does that look like? And when you get your team to think that way, that takes away a lot of the anxieties and problems, because you're not overperforming. You're not trying to accomplish the impossible. Goals that are not realistic do not motivate. They demotivate. So we want goals that are consistent, obtainable, and as you probably teach, SMART goals, right? They're specific, they're measurable, and that's what a team leader wants to do, is put out those SMART goals for people and manage those expectations so that they're realistic.
So, do you have any last remark or concluding remarks or messages that you want to provide with students across Croatia?
Absolutely. Looking back, if I was to share one insight, now that I'm in my 60s and have gone through a career and watched thousands of others go through a career, not just myself, but all those that I started with, those that were before me. Now, as I look back and try to teach and mentor those that are behind me, the reality of the matter is this: you are all going to enter the workplace, the marketplace, and in 30 or 40 years, you will exit the market in the place, right? So you need to be thinking long term, right? And as you go through your career, what's going to happen is the people that are in front of you, ahead of you now, are going to retire or die. So that in 30, 40 years, you are going to be at a place where you're at the top of your game. You are at the top of your career field, whatever that may be, because everyone that has gone before you will have had to retire. Many of them will have to die. We all get old, right? And so my point is that these opportunities, it's not will they afford themselves. I'm telling you, I guarantee you, they will afford themselves. The only question is, will you be at the right place at the right time with the right skill set? That's the questions that you need to ask, because your opportunity will come. You will be at the top of your game, the senior person in whatever it is that you do, or one of the senior people in whatever it is that you do. And the question at that point is what have you done for the last 30 or 40 years? Have you accumulated the character? Have you developed the skill sets? Have you acquired the knowledge? Have you developed as a leader, right? So that when the opportunity for promotion comes into the most influential positions, you are the person that will stand out. And I can tell you, being at the Pentagon, hiring colonels and hiring the very, very top of the top in Air Force logistics, which was security forces, civil engineering, aircraft maintainers, all of the supply chain. I mean, just all of that at the very, very top. We were hiring the top leaders. And I saw what that looked like. I sat on those promotion boards, and I can tell you, it's not like you're looking out over a sea of 1,000 people that you have to pick from. It boils down to just 1 or 2 people, 1, 2, 3 people that stand out from amongst the rest. And so it's actually not hard to pick those leaders down the road, 30 years from now. The only question is, will you be the one that stands out, or will you just be one of the mediocre thousands that are just like everybody else? The color of white, Manila, or whatever color that is, right? So stand out. And your experiences, your background, your accomplishments are going to speak volumes down the road. and live every day, one day at a time. Don't worry about tomorrow. Tomorrow will take care of itself, right? Do the very best job you can do today. Continue learning, continue growing, continue adding to your repertoire and to your resume, that skill set. When I was 28 years old, I could have went on for my master's degree in logistics. I chose to go into counseling and people skills because I realized how important relational skills were. And so I went into a completely different field for my master's degree because I wanted to grow in that area. I was a D. I'm an extrovert, goal-oriented, not by nature a people-oriented person. And I realized that I need to really, really develop in that area. So great leaders have got great self-awareness. They learn what they're good at. They realize what they're not good at. They soar with their strengths. They learn to manage their weaknesses. And you do that, you will do well. You will never be in want of a job.